From the back lot of Skywalker Ranch, it's the IGN Digigods. Please welcome two guys who were C-3PO's fluffer, Wade Major and Mark Kaiser.
Ho, ho, ho! One of the listeners is working blue. Corey.
That was written by Tav Rainey. He can attack my Death Star trench anytime.
My goodness. This show, we're going to get censored by someone.
You, me, and MIA.
Yeah. And how about that Super Bowl?
What about it?
I don't know.
It seemed like a boring game to me, except at the end. I
Yeah.
mean, am I crazy? It just seemed like a boring game.
It was a boring game.
And then at the end, it's all in that one play, which of course is awesome when it comes down to the last play.
Yeah.
But other than that, I was kind of bored.
Yeah, I was too. But the commercials there were a few interesting
You
commercials.
know what? I have to say, commercials this year, lame.
Lame, but there were four good ones. And one of them was not necessarily the Clint Eastwood one, which I know everybody was all excited about. It's halftime in America. I don't...
Get off my lawn, Iran.
I mean, whatever. But I liked I particularly liked the Acura commercial. The one with Jay Leno and Jerry Seinfeld. I thought it was funny.
Yeah,
that
Leno
was very funny.
Leno showed up in two commercials yesterday. He was in two spots.
What was the other one?
It was one where it was an NBC promo for something.
Oh,
he was
yeah,
in an elevator with
right.
Madonna.
That's right. Yeah.
And then the other one, whatever.
But the Acura commercial was funny, and I love the M&M's commercial, except unless if you have not seen, the video that it references, Wiggle Wiggle Wiggle, the LMFAO video.
I've seen nothing.
Yeah.
Okay,
never mind.
I'm so viral video. I'm like a black hole of viral videos. Viral videos come to me to die, to stop being popular. Because I've never seen the evolution of dance. The evolution of dance on YouTube has literally 183 million views.
Yeah.
Of which not one of them is mine.
Yeah.
Because I've never seen it.
I've seen it.
And you know what?
It ain't that great.
The kid who he bit his finger.
Yeah.
Oh, Timmy bit my finger.
Yeah.
Never saw it.
Okay.
And who would want to see that anyway?
I don't.
And you know what makes me angry
here's
what makes me angry.
Yeah.
Is that, and I work at a major cable network,
sure
and I deal with this a lot with some of the younger members of the staff.
You work at a major cable network, and I work out. I work out.
Is that a thing?
That's a thing.
Okay.
Never mind.
The problem is you get these guys, and I said this to one of my staffers.
Mm-hmm.
I said the problem is nowadays you pick up your iPhone and you take a video of your cat peeing on the rug, and it gets 50,000 views on YouTube, and you think you're Scorsese.
I know.
You're not.
I know.
Stop it. You work in TV now. It's time to step up to the plate.
I know.
And they just don't think that.
I know.
They're like, dude, I have 500 Facebook friends. I'm the king of everything. No, you're really not.
No.
It's just the worst.
Sad. We have a couple of listener audio emails.
I know. Thank you very much.
Yeah.
Gods@digigods.com.
Yeah.
Keep them coming.
Got a couple of them in this week, so we're gonna read those to you or play those to you. We don't read them; we just play them. Super Bowl, whatever.
I don't care.
You know what? I want to start off real quick before we get into anything else. There is a very interesting development that has taken place over in the land of Kino Lorber. Kino and Lorber Films not too long ago formed an alliance to release a lot of really cool films from the Lorber Library, which has floated around from company to company over the years. All the way back to Fox Lorber. Some of you probably have Fox Lorber DVDs. Well, Kino Lorber is now the proud distributor of the Redemption Library, which has also floated around from time to time. These are all kind of classic Gothic horror films, primarily foreign, and in this case they have now released 5 of the great films of Jean Rollin, who is sort of the French version of, like a Lucio Fulci or one of those giallo filmmakers. Anyway, in the 60s and 70s, Jean Rollin kind of held down the French end of all of those creepy, spooky Gothic horror films that showed up in England as Hammer horror films, and in America as like Roger Corman films, especially the Poe films, and in Italy as giallo films. And these are kind of the French variations of those. They're all numbered 1 through 5, this first batch of them. And The Nude Vampire, isn't that a great title, Mark? The Nude Vampire?
No, a better title?
Yeah.
The Nude Bomb.
Oh, yeah.
The Get Smart film.
I love that.
With the desk driving down the freeway.
So it's best. That needs to be on Blu-ray. Badly.
I don't know. Badly?
Badly. Really seriously badly needs to be on now.
Wait, okay, that or Lawrence of Arabia, be honest. Which one needs to be on Blu-ray first?
Oh.
I know.
That's
How about the new Lawrence of Arabia?
Oh.
Where Lawrence, at the beginning, instead of being on a motorcycle...
Max of Arabia.
Instead of being on a motorcycle, at the beginning of Lawrence of Arabia, and he crashes, he'll be on a desk going down, and the desk will crash.
There you go.
This is humor just for Wade.
Yes, it is. Anyway, The Nude Vampire is a little bit cheesy. It's not Roland's best film, but it's you can watch it in French or in English dubbed, or French with the English subtitles. Please always watch the original French version. You got a great interview on here with Jean Roland himself, which I think is actually probably better than the movie, and a great booklet by Tim Lucas of Video Watchdog. Some cool trailers for some of the other films in this series, and the movie itself, It features Jean Roland's brother in it, if you can believe that, and a bunch of other people. Basically about a guy who wants to be immortal, and you know what? There's this mute orphan vampire woman, and she's kind of hot. But the movie itself, it feels a little threadbare compared to his stuff, and it's almost, I don't know, it doesn't feel fully fleshed out. The Iron Rose, on the other hand, which is high creep factor, takes place in a cemetery, is pretty great. And really, really terrific performance here by Françoise Pascal. The cemetery is beautifully shot, just really intensely creepy, and has a high gothic factor. The Blu-rays of all of these, by the way, are really, really excellent. The one thing that Kino Lorber apparently has done is gone back to the original elements, and they've really done a great number on these. They all just kind of pop as far as the color is concerned, much more so than I would have expected even of a Hammer film. So they've done a really nice job there, the Blu-rays especially. Another one is Fascination, which is not for the faint of heart. Now, all of these have this really cool gothic period feel to them. So remember, they're like French art films crossed with exploitation horror films. So you're always going to have that kind of art film quality to it that feels a little bit exploitative and almost like a porn film. But just so that you're aware of that, this is gorgeous anamorphic, not so widescreen, 1/66, but it's kind of like a Bergman film crossed with I don't know, like a Bergman film crossed with a cannibal film or something.
But Bergman did that whole cannibal zombie series.
He did.
Remember that?
Yeah.
Very artsy.
It's not really. It's not a cannibal film, but it's like it's like what? It's like if a Bergman film became a porn film, became a horror film. Does that make sense?
It does not.
Yeah, never mind. It's impossible to describe. The Shiver of the Vampires, another vampire bit here. The Shiver of the Vampires is from 1971. And visually, really, really cool. I think from a pure visual photographic standpoint, this is right up there with Mask of the Red Death of Corman's.
Wow.
And you know who shot Mask of the Red Death, don't you?
Emmanuel Lubetsky.
Just because we were talking about him earlier.
John Toll.
No.
Ooh.
But you're not far off. He later became a director. He directed movies like The Man Who Fell to Earth.
Nicholas Roeg.
That's right, Nicholas Roeg. Who, by the way, shot The Mask of the Red Death after David Lean had fired him off of Dr. Zhivago. Did you know that?
I did not.
Because he had been a camera operator on Lawrence of Arabia. When you watch the credits of Lawrence of Arabia, look for it. Nicholas Roeg was a camera operator on Lawrence.
Roeg did a lot of camera operating. Did he operate
Tons.
for like Richard Lester?
He may have.
I don't know why I have that in
But
my
he was
head.
on Lawrence, and he was going to get kicked up to DP for Zhivago, and then he and Lean just did not see eye to eye.
I cannot imagine Nicholas Roeg and David Lean seeing eye to eye visually.
I know, right? Yeah, anyway. This is the whole cool castle gothic of the Shivers of the Vampires. You will thoroughly enjoy. It's right up there in the Mask of the Red Death vein. And then lastly, the one that I think might be the best of the lot, really, because it feels more like a real film. It has a real kind of art film quality to it, despite the creep factor, and it's a high creep factor. This is Lips of Blood. Isn't that pretty? Isn't that a pretty title? Lips of Blood. No, this is really first rate, and the script is particularly good. So you get a film that's not just all about the shock factor and the groovy look and the so forth, but the story actually is very, very cool. The whole thing is sort of centered around we could say the horror of childhood and the way that things haunt you in the crevices of your mind and the valleys of your past.
The crevices of your mind and the valleys of your past.
Yeah.
That's beautiful. All right, wait, I'm going to do some music because...
So anyway, genre land, it's we're done with genre land. But seriously, check out these 5 films. The Blu-rays are just gorgeous. I mean, it's really... Kino's been doing a great job, and most of it has been really primarily with silent films in black and white. But boy, these just look sparkling. The color is really rich. And the reds, especially in the last 2, very, very sharp. They don't bleed.
Wade, let's do some music. Are you into that?
You rock it.
I will rock it. Wade, there's a couple of really good musical Blu-rays out. One is the Unheard Music, X. Now, X, for those who don't know, very influential Los Angeles punk band. In fact, they pretty much in the late 70s kind of started that whole punk movement. And they were very influential, especially in town. And between 1980 and 1985, they shot this documentary, this performance piece that became The Unheard Music, and it's finally on Blu-ray, and it is really good stuff. John Doe, maybe you've heard of John Doe.
Oh, yeah.
John Doe and Exene Cervenka have survived all these years. They're still around there, still kicking, as opposed to all these other punk bands. They've either, flamed out or died or whatever. But The Unheard Music is a great snapshot of a very interesting time in the local music scene. So I highly recommend that. Also, musically, we have the Richard Thompson Band live at Celtic Connections. This is just Richard Thompson's set at this annual Celtic Connections Festival, which is at the Royal Concert Hall in Glasgow. By the way, Glasgow, been there, nice town.
Yeah, I need to go.
You do need to go.
Yeah.
By the way, everything in Ireland and Scotland automatically is cool. It just is.
Billy Connolly's from Glasgow. That's why I have to go. I got to go track him down, even though he lives here.
Didn't he just make the news for something? Wasn't he arrested or something?
Billy Connolly?
He did something bad. People made fun of him. He got booed off the stage or something.
Really?
He got booed off the stage. No, here's what it is. He got booed off the stage twice within a week span.
Billy? For doing what?
For being not funny.
He's hilarious.
Anyway, this is filmed in January 2011, and Richard Thompson is a very cool guy, and he's got a really cool band that includes saxophone and flute and violin, and so really interesting instrumentations and sounds. And Live at Celtic Connections is a really good it's like an omnibus piece. If you want to know all about Richard Thompson, check it out on Blu-ray. It looks really nice too, because again, it was shot in January of 2011. This is super cool. This is Doors, Mr. Mojo Rise, and the Story of L.A. Woman. And those who don't know the Doors, they were also a very L.A. band. Jim Morrison went to... Where did Jim Morrison go to school?
Went to UCLA Film School.
Dud.
In fact, one of my old professors whose book just came out, and we're going to be plugging that in about a week or so because it's a fantastic book, but he was actually in school with Morrison. I just had lunch with him a couple weeks ago. Yes.
Name dropper.
Yeah.
Anyway, this is all about the Doors album, L.A. Woman. I don't know if you know the story of L.A. Woman. In the 70s, they got together in L.A., and they were going to record this brand new album, but the producer, who had produced all of the Doors' previous albums, didn't like any of the songs and quit. And so the Doors decided that they would produce the album themselves and with somebody else. And so this other guy they brought in, this guy, Bruce Botnick, he kind of gave the Doors that sound, that spontaneous, very earthy, live, fun sound, and it became a classic, L.A. Woman. And this is all about the making of the album. Mr. Mojo Rising, the story of L.A. Woman. This is on Blu-ray, although obviously it's, not great because this is very, very vintage material here. Also, this Blu-ray is very notable because there is a previously unreleased track, which is actually in the news a couple weeks ago, called She Smells So Nice. This is a previously unreleased song from the Doors that is available on this Blu-ray, Mr. Mojo Rising. So check it out, all you Doors lovers. You know you're out there. Wade Major.
Yes, you betcha.
Styx. You know what? I liked Styx when I was young because I was stupid. That's why I like Styx, because I was stupid. Styx was Styx was sort of this very theatrical rock and roll band.
Mr. Roboto.
They did this
Domo Morigato. Yeah.
They did a couple they did a concept album called Mr. Roboto, which was a big deal.
That.
Before that, they had an album called The Grand Illusion, which was kind of a big deal for them.
Yeah.
This is beautifully shot. They had 11 cameras at the Orpheum Theater in Memphis and high definition cameras, and so you've got really good stuff from Styx. All their classics from Grand Illusion and Pieces of Eight, also including "Fooling Yourself," "Come Sail Away."
Yeah,
"Come Sail Away with Me."
I love that. That's the whole prog rock era, which I just think is fabulous.
Do you really?
Yeah, I love all prog rock.
All right, this is called Styx, The Grand Illusion, Pieces of Eight Live. Check that out. Queen, everyone loves Queen, and Wade Queen's making the news too.
Yeah,
Did you hear the news?
No.
Adam Lambert is going to be the new lead singer. of Queen.
That was rumored like 2 years ago. That was rumored 2 years ago. It's about time they get around to doing that finally. It's a good move. Really, it's a good move.
Is he that talented, that guy?
Yeah.
Really?
He is, yeah.
Ask me how many episodes of American Idol I've seen.
How many?
0.
Same here. But you know what? He is talented. He doesn't just have the theatricality of Freddie, but he has the range. He has the voice. He can do it. I mean, I would normally say, wow, what a pandering thing that is. But no, if there's anybody who can step into those shoes and do justice to them, he can do it.
Queen, Days of Our Lives, his new Blu-ray, all about the making of the band. They started in 1971. They released like 26 albums and sold hundreds of millions of copies of their music. And this is a definitive, well, kind of, sort of, but maybe not, because it does include new interviews. So I guess you do get them reflecting back on this time with kind of decades to kind of really, parse their behavior and kind of put it all together and what it really means. It does have a bunch of archive stuff too, thank goodness, including their very first TV performance, which is just terrific. Anyway, so the Blu-ray includes 90 minutes of bonus material, which is great. There's videos, We Are the Champions, Under Pressure, Radio Gaga. This rumor has it that Lady Gaga got her name.
Oh, from Radio Gaga?
That's the rumor, but I don't really know much about Lady Gaga.
She wears meat.
Have I told you my theory about Lady Gaga?
No.
I might have told you this. Actually, I might have told you this on this show, but I'll say it again.
Okay.
I believe that Lady Gaga was outrageous and I believe Lady Gaga is outrageous and does her whole Lady Gaga thing because the girl who is Lady Gaga, she I believe that she was insecure and felt that she could never make it based on her looks alone because she's not that attractive if you see her just walking down the street. So she had to create this Lady Gaga persona and be as unbelievably beyond outrageous as you can possibly be because she knows that gets attention.
Yes.
So it wasn't like she was naturally beautiful and she can show up on the red carpet and just be a glamorous singer. Mm-hmm. She was insecure about her looks and thought she was in some small town. I don't know where she's from, New York, I think. And so she developed this whole persona and this outrageous things because it was a self-esteem issue.
Yeah, okay.
She didn't have it on her own.
Okay.
Just saying.
Okay.
Anyway,
I'm not going to argue with you. It may be true. Whatever.
I don't know. Anyway, Owl City is this bizarre little... They're like this electronic band. It's really kind of led by this one guy, Adam Young, and they formed in 2007 in Minnesota. And I don't like all their music, but I have to say that what I like about this guy, this Adam Young guy, is that he is very experimental. He really tries new stuff out, tries new instrumentations, new sounds, new colorings, and I really like it. And the Blu-ray is called Owl City Live from Los Angeles. It was filmed last July at Club Nokia. So they were really loaded to bear with high-definition cameras, so it does look great on Blu-ray. These guys, I don't know that they've ever had any any song in the top 100, quite frankly. But if you like this guy, you will totally dig Owl City Live from Los Angeles. If nothing else, if you are fans of experimental music and different types of instrumentations, cool, kind of iconoclastic, unique songwriters and musicians, you will dig this Blu-ray. Otherwise, go get Queen.
Okay, I'm going to crank through a couple of indie titles here real quickly, and then we'll do some foreign, and then we'll do our listener audio mail. We got to get a proper name for that.
How about audio mail? You know what? Help! I'll tell you what. Help us come up with a name for audio mail.
Yeah, name for audio mail.
Gods@digigods.com. If you would like to name our audio mail segment.
That's it.
I just made that up, so there's no prize because I just made it up.
We'll give you credit.
We'll give you credit.
Yeah.
Every time we use it, we'll give you credit. Because we don't have audio mail every week.
Oh, that's true.
So we could give credit every week to the person who comes up with the name.
They'll probably name it after themselves.
But then they wouldn't win.
Like Fred Mail.
The whole idea is they have to win.
I guess.
So anyway, here we go. We just pulled a contest out of our butts.
Yeah, there we go.
That's
what we do.
Name our audio mail segment. Send your suggested titles to gods@digigods.com. We will have some audio mail in mere moments right after Wade is done talking about.
Well, I'm going to blow through a couple of these. These are weird little indies. Might be of interest to somebody. The Undying from MTI is it's kind of a silly little horror film about a woman who works at a hospital and there's a ghost in her house, and she wants the ghost to kind of give life to a guy who died at the hospital. And, of course, that's a bad idea, as it always is. These things never turn out well. You don't ever go, yay, the ghost. It's a nice ghost, a nice benevolent ghost. Never works out that way. Even worse a better film, but even worse in terms of the consequences of the actions involved, is Into the Lion's Den, which is this interesting thriller from Breaking Glass. This is the kind of thing that would normally play at a gay and lesbian film festival, but really shouldn't. It's completely crossover and directed by Dan Lance, who I've never heard of, but who's got some chops. Good little thriller about three guys who just figure they had it with the whole gay scene in L.A., and they decide to go to New York. And along the way, they get up, after a rather long road trip, they wind up going into this bar called the Lion's Den, somewhere in the middle of nowhere. They should have known better. And, of course, just things don't turn out well. Let's just say somebody's been watching them and whatnot.
Well, if they turned out well, there'd be no movie.
There'd be no movie. Jim's Gift is this bizarre, weird, tweaked little cult film from 1996 that I never heard of. So I wonder where this even comes from, because we're on the verge of, Blu-ray, or not Blu-ray, but DVD at the time. I mean, 96 is, DVD came around, 99?
Yes.
99? It was 99 when DVD first emerged. This is still dealing with VCR culture. This film's like a decade too late, or decade and a half too late. Anyway, this little kid comes into possession, like a strange man gives him this VCR that can play the past and the future. And, of course, everything just gets completely absurdly ridiculous and weird after that. It's called Jim's Gift. Not particularly good, but it's definitely weird and culty. Answer This is completely pointless, but I get, the cast is relatively endearing, I suppose. But it's otherwise a totally pointless, college romance movie, and it's all kind of built around trivia contests, and I don't really get it. But there's a commentary on here with Mike Farah, and who is probably better known as the producer of Funny or Die. And he produced this as well, and it's okay, I guess. But I don't really know why they made this movie. The one really good film here, as always, is from Film Movement, who's just terrific. And by the way, Film Movement released a film last week that I talked about on NPR, the King of Devil's Island, with Stellan Skarsgård, Norwegian film. What a great movie. Seriously, honestly, that is such a great movie. And Protector, Protector, is also a really, really good movie. I don't know why this didn't wind up in theaters, but this is a Czech film about a couple who live in Prague right when the Nazis invade. She is an actress, and she's Jewish. He is not Jewish, but he has to somehow find a way to, navigate the politics of the invading Nazis to save his wife's life. And the whole thing is a bit of a melodrama, but one of those kind of World War II, invaded people melodramas that we get out of the Eastern Bloc every so often. But it's quite well done, very, very nicely put together. This won the Denver Film Festival. And it also comes with a cool short film from Canada. Isn't that funny? Canada makes good films. Canada makes great animated films in particular. And this is called I Was a Child of Holocaust Survivors. Really, really, really good. Definitely check that one out. So this is another fine release from Film Movement.
Wade, it's my favorite time of the show. Foreign. Good night, everybody. No.
Foreign.
No, it's...
We're going to do foreign.
No, we're not. We're going to do Criterion.
Criterion foreign.
That is true. These are all foreign films from Criterion. First, we have Godzilla from 1954, finally out. This, of course, is the monster film that really, This was there was the Frankensteins and the the Draculas and whatnot, but Godzilla. We're talking post-war paranoia.
So totally into it.
H-bomb. Post-war, we have
It's a great film.
It's a great film.
The other Godzilla movies that came after, with the guy in the big suit,
and the
stupid,
Mothras
horrible.
and everything. There's like three dozen sequels to this that are all terrible. But the original Gojira was fantastic.
Amazing.
This is a great film, and of course, Criterion has done an amazing job putting this together. New high-definition transfer, a great audio commentary by David Kalat, who puts the film in historical perspective, especially from the Japanese. Because look, don't forget, we're talking after World War II, H-bomb, the whole 9 yards. The only nation ever to be bombed by a nuclear weapon, and they had a lot of fears that they worked out through their cinema.
And David is a great guy and a real scholar. He used to run All Day Entertainment, which released a number of really, really cool titles that are like real collector's editions now because nobody else has released them. But they're great.
So this is just really great stuff. This is Godzilla. I mean, you can't not at least rent Godzilla. And by the way, when you see it, you won't laugh. This is not cheeseball time. It's not like Mothra versus whatever. This is the big one. This is a great film. So that's number one from the good folks at Criterion. Also, we have La Jetée Sans Soleil, 2 films from the great Chris Marker. Chris Marker is a weird little French guy who's still around. Chris Marker is still around. Guy, he must be in his 80s.
And he doesn't do interviews. He's so reclusive.
He's a poet and a novelist and a photographer. And La Jetée is one of the most influential sci-fi films ever made.
It inspired 12 Monkeys.
It inspired 12 Monkeys. That is very true. And what's great about this film is that it is about as experimental as Chris Marker gets because it's all still photographs.
Which is so cool.
The whole movie, ladies and gentlemen, still photographs.
Absolutely.
Now, with that comes Sans Soleil, which is from 1980. Now, La Jetée was 63 and Sans Soleil is 83. And they're both sort of in that sci-fi vein. Sans Soleil is, not as influential as La Jetée, but still very good.
Yes.
The disc features include a interview with filmmaker Jean-Pierre Gorin, who was a contemporary of Chris Marker.
Mm-hmm.
That's good stuff. Great booklet. There's a 6-minute film from Marker, co-directed by Marker, called Junkopia.
Yeah.
Which is terrific. And two excerpts from a French television series talking about La Jetée, and a David Bowie music video for the song Jump They Say, which is inspired by La Jetée. And it's just great stuff. So La Jetée Sans Soleil, very highly recommended. Finally, from the good folks at Criterion, we have a movie that I will not discuss that much because it is about bullfighting, and I hate bullfighting because it's cruel. But it's called The Moment of Truth. This was directed by Francesco Rossi.
It's a good film. All Rossi's films are really good. Nobody really knows about him here.
Well, you know why? Because he makes films about horrible, disgusting things like bullfighting. How about seal clubbing? Maybe you should do a movie about seal clubbing.
Or okay.
You know what?
I'll do it.
Seals like to go clubbing. What can I say?
Pay me enough. I'll do it. Seals like to go clubbing.
Good comment.
That's the reason that Seal and Heidi Klum got divorced, because he was gone clubbing. What? Never mind.
I just let the silence fill the internet.
Okay.
Anyway, this is 1965, and Rossi is, of course, an Italian director. And The Moment of Truth is it's all about this bullfighting legend. A real life bullfighting legend played this main character. Yeah. But of course, it's very violent and very dramatic, and it's just and people say it's the best bullfighting movie ever made. Although, you know what? Go read yourself some Hemingway. He'll do it just fine. I'm not a big fan of bullfighting, so screw that movie. I said it. Screw that movie.
Oh yeah. Got a bunch of Asian titles here that I'm gonna run through real quickly. The new Takeshi Kitano film, Outrage. I love Takeshi Kitano. Love his stuff. But you know what? This is just leaning a little bit too much on the familiar here. He had done a bunch of Yakuza films early in his career, and then he kind of went in a more interesting direction, a few more humanistic films, and then he even made a remake of the Blind Swordsman films. And for Miramax, and now he's back to the whole Yakuza thing, which is really unfortunate, because this just feels like pieces from his other movies all thrown together. It's really about a Yakuza war, a lot of crosses and double crosses and triple crosses, and everybody kind of conniving to outmaneuver the other guy, and he gets caught in the middle, and he's kind of a lower level Yakuza functionary, and he does the usual steely, stony face thing, shoots a lot of people, a lot of blood, a lot of clever maneuvering, but ultimately it just feels incredibly familiar. Magnolia's released it on Blu-ray and on DVD. We've got the Blu-ray in front of us, which is fine. It's not spectacular. Donnie Yen starred in a couple of Ip Man films. Ip Man, of course, the legendary kung fu master who taught Bruce Lee. And they had a couple of great films with Donnie Yen in the lead part playing Ip Man, both of which were sort of the same. One was pre-World War II, one was after World War II, one fighting the Japanese, the other one fighting the English. But we now have another one, The Legend is Born Ip Man. And this is a completely different... And by the way, Wong Kar-wai's making an Ip Man movie as well.
Is he really?
Yeah. And they're going to do
all like martial arts.
And there's going to be a third Donnie Yen Ip Man movie because now he's going to be teaching Bruce Lee. So there's going to be 3 Donnie Yen Ip Man movies. We've got this one, The Legend is Born, which is on par with the others, not quite as dazzling. But then you've got the Wong Kar-wai thing. It's kind of crazy. Anyway, Ip Man's actual son appears in this film, and you have really cool performances by Sammo Hung and Yun Bao, who were part of the whole Jackie Chan crew back in the day. And Sammo Hung, by the way, did all the fight choreography and even had a part in the second Donnie Yen Ip Man film. That's what a small shop it is there in Hong Kong. Anyway, this guy actually goes back earlier. The earlier years of Ip Man, even before the 2 Donnie Yen films, and it's good. It's fine. It's got great action. It's got great fighting. Just not quite as charismatic a lead, I would say, as Donnie Yen. Mark, we have this Films That Got Away thing that we do, some of us as part of being members of LAFCA. Our good friend Ray Green kind of chairs the thing. And we work in tandem we have worked in tandem with a lot of groups, including the American Cinematheque, but now we work annually with the LA Film Festival to program a sidebar of films, usually foreign, which have never gotten distribution. And it was a couple of years ago that we included United Red Army, an amazing Japanese film, in that list, and now it has distribution. I don't know if Kino Lorber heard us. I don't know if they paid attention to the cries coming out of the LA Film Festival that United Red Army needed to have distribution. But nonetheless, here it is. So it has no longer gotten away, and I'd like for us to take a little bit of credit for that. This is kind of a very cinema verite thing, and it's a great bit of filmmaking from the director Koji Wakamatsu, which deals with this fascinating episode in the history of Japan where there was this incredibly radical kind of underground leftist element in the 1960s. And it almost, in the 1960s, everybody had their radical leftist element. And, it's sort of like their version of the Symbionese Liberation Army, I suppose, in some respect. But, or maybe even like the Shining Path in Peru. They all kind of had that thing going at that time. And that's what this is about. And it is an absolutely terrific film, beautifully made, really very different from most Japanese films just over the last 20 years, and highly recommended. Great DVD release from Kino Lorber. And then on a Blu-ray DVD combo pack is The Coast Guard. No, not the American Coast Guard. This is the Korean Coast Guard. Kim Ki-duk, who does a lot of really cool, eccentric, wild, and crazy films, like Nine Iron. Did you ever see Nine Iron?
Wild movie.
Wild movie, right?
Yes.
Same director, Kim Ki-duk. We love him. He wrote and directed this. It's not his best film in the view of a lot of people, but it certainly is one of his more impressive films. It's very ambitious, and if you're a Coast Guard in Korea, it's not the same as being Coast Guard in the U.S. You're dealing obviously with all the tension of North Korea and all that craziness and madness. And when this was made, it was it was dear leader time. Kim Jong-il, craziness.
He's the best.
He's the best. We love him. No, not really. We say that incredibly facetiously. Anyway, but this is not a big epic thing. It's really about one guy and psychologically how he reacts to events that transpire as a result of this incredibly high stress job. It's a cool film, and the Blu-ray is really spectacular. I mean, it is just one of the more gorgeous Blu-rays that I've seen in a long time. And this comes to us from Palisades Tartan, who is really buffing up their library ever since it kind of converted from Tartan to Palisades Tartan. But all this stuff is really getting a great new lease on life. So very impressive.
You know what else is very impressive, Wade? The 4 hours and 17 minutes it will take you to watch Mysteries of Lisbon.
I did not watch it. After all of those emails that blew around at LAFCA time, everybody's screaming, "Oh, watch Mysteries of Lisbon, set some time aside." I took a look at how long it was, and I said, no. I don't have the time.
Well, it's based on a.
Although I know a lot of people loved it.
Yeah, it's look.
And then Raul Ruiz went and died.
And then the director Raul Ruiz died, which of course only added to its luster with members of the critical community. The thing with Mysteries of Lisbon is based on a very famous Portuguese novel, and so it means a lot to the Portuguese, less to us. And it is a movie that you just really have to go with it. It does not tell. It does not tell a conventional story in a conventional way. It is unbelievably, beautifully, fantastically well shot, but it is purposely just a symphony of words and music and pictures and sound and discordant and plot threads that go in and out as you go through the decades with this love triangle. So it's definitely a sit, but you know what? It is well worth it because even at 4 hours and 17 minutes, Mysteries of Lisbon is a great film.
Wow.
It really is.
Sweet.
Bonus features include a uppers to get you through the 4 hours and 17 minutes. It comes a little case right there in the middle. No, there's a collector's booklet, interview with the screenwriter, and a roundtable discussion of the film, which is really interesting. It was done for French television, so even more subtitles for you to enjoy. But, people sort of compared this to Barry Lyndon at the time. Mm-hmm. And I think that the only comparison to Barry Lyndon is that it's beautifully shot.
Yeah.
I love Barry Lyndon. I think Barry Lyndon is like a gorgeously shot film.
It's an amazing film. John Alcott just nailed it.
Right. So people compare them on that basis, but which might be true, but not really from a story standpoint, really just from a stylistic standpoint. But anyway, Mysteries of Lisbon, great stuff. Yes, Wade?
Well, I was going to go ahead and do it before you jump into that nightmare. Happy, terrific little Norwegian film. Not great, but certainly very good. This won an award at Sundance last year, I believe. And it's basically it's a terrific lead performance. Really, it's just such an unusual little film. The actress Agnes, I hope I'm not going to just murder her name. Agnes Kittelsen, or Agnes Kittelsen. She plays Kaja, who is this woman who lives in the middle of nowhere in Norway, very rural, and her husband clearly has issues. He just doesn't love her anymore, or never loved her in the first place, and she's a little weird and eccentric and quirky and kind of spacey. And then this couple moves in next door who appear to have everything going for them. And, of course, now you've got a setup for what would be, are they really happy? Who's happy? And suddenly there are a lot of weird tensions and attractions going on between the two couples, and it's a good character study, a lot of great acting in it, really a smart little film. Again, not brilliant by any means. There are a lot of good films like this, and this just happens to be one that broke out of the pack, but happy. On Blu-ray and DVD from Magnolia, and the Blu-ray is actually much prettier than I expected it to be. I saw this thing projected at the time, and I actually think the Blu-ray looks better than the film did projected.
What the?
I know, right?
Crazy talk. Wade, Jean-Luc Godard is about 79, 80 years old, and the guy is still making movies. However,
he's crazy.
He's gone over the deep end. He has not made a coherent film for a long time. He makes these bizarre cinematic essays that are totally impenetrable, and I think he has reached the zenith. He has reached the zenith of his nadir. Yeah. I'm going to say.
Well said.
With film socialism.
Yeah. Film socialisme.
And
you have to say it with really kind of European verve.
I mean, Notre Musique, which I saw at the Cannes Film Festival, I think in 2004, something like that. That one he was teetering. But with this, which is split into 3 parts, and the first part's set on a cruise ship, and then it goes on from there. It's just this cacophonous, maddening, wild little film that just winds up being nothing at the end. I just don't know what to say. The thing is that when you consider that he continues to work, I wish that he would be Jean-Luc Godard. There's no reason why Jean-Luc Godard can't continue to be Jean-Luc Godard.
Yeah.
But somehow he has just, when people watch his films now, I just think they are giving him the benefit of the doubt. But I think at this point, you just can't give him the benefit of this doubt anymore. I think it's over.
Yeah, I'm with you.
So this is available on Blu-ray and DVD. And
I know.
By the way, I'm just letting you know, there are 2 subtitle tracks on the film.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to read this from the back of the box.
Okay.
Now, there's a full English translation.
Yeah.
You never want to you never want to hear the translation. You always want to read the subtitles. The other one is in Godar's Navajo English. So Godar's Navajo English is a one subtitle track, and then the other is the full English translation.
Oh, heaven help us.
So all you fans of Godar's Navajo English should check out that track.
Jean-Jacques Benex is an amazingly brilliant French filmmaker who he just doesn't work often enough. I don't know what the problem is. I've had dinner with Benex. Did I ever mention that to you?
You did not.
Yeah, a good friend of ours used to be Benex's agent, and some years ago Benex was in town, and he called us up and he said, "Hey, Benex is coming over for dinner. You guys want to come?" And we were like, "You serious? Are we going to go?" "Oh yeah, no, we've got we got to like cut our nails or something." "Well, of course we're going to be there." So we go over and we meet Jean-Jacques Benex, who is wonderful and not at all, creepy and weird and freakish as one might expect from some of his movies, and absolutely just brilliant. Wonderful guy to talk to. I just wish he'd make more movies. After he made Diva, which was sort of the film that put him really on the international map, he went and made a film that was just as brilliant in many respects, The Moon in the Gutter, starring Gerard Depardieu and Nastasha Kinski. This is kind of like if Death Wish took a completely bizarre turn. Gerard Depardieu is a guy who is grieving his sister's death. She killed herself after being brutally raped, and you think he's going to go out and dig up the people who did it and just really let them have it in Dirty Harry, Charles Bronson style. And he, of course, doesn't. He meets Nastasha Kinski, and this fascinating relationship develops, and eventually things come back around, but it goes in all these weird, intriguing, just psychologically unexpected directions. It's such a good film, and it is out finally on Blu-ray. Cinema Libre has released all of the Jean-Jacques Benex stuff. They are the owners of the Jean-Jacques Benex collection, which was released as a boxed set on DVD about a year or so ago. And we've had Betty Blue, and now we have The Moon in the Gutter, and it is sensational. This is all-region Blu-ray, so any of you who are listening from overseas, you want to get a hold of this because you don't have it there yet. By all means, go ahead and get it. What I don't understand is why they indicate that it is. This is interesting. In the specs in the back says NTSC. That doesn't make sense because it's Blu-ray. Blu-ray shouldn't matter. So what I think is, I just think they didn't change the information that they put down from the DVD. But in point of fact, you could play this anywhere in the world. Have at it.
How about off-world, like maybe Mars Colony, like Newt Gingrich's Mars Colony? Can you play it there?
Did you see the sketch on Saturday Night Live?
Moon Colony? No.
Oh, it's brilliant. It's like the Earth has ended and there's a moon colony, and Gingrich is now the president of the moon. It's hysterical. It was really good.
We're big fans of Johnny To, but he did not direct this film. Punished, he produced it.
Yeah, he's slapping his name on everything these days.
I know. You know what? This is a not bad film, but you've got to kind of know what you're going in for. This is a movie about this rich industrialist. His daughter gets kidnapped, and she eventually gets killed. And so the industrialist tells his personal bodyguard to go pursue the people who killed his daughter. And you think it's going to be like a revenge sort of thing, where it's nothing but just like violence and just complete blood and guts everywhere. And really, it's kind of more of a procedural than that, which might be disappointing for some, but I kind of thought it was interesting. There are some violent scenes, lots of guns drawn and everything, but I think this is really more of a an internal procedural thing than it is a total like Taken vengeance. By the way, they had Taken on TV the other day.
It's great.
So I sat and kind of watched it, maybe half of it.
It's so great.
That was great.
It's so awesome.
That's an awesome
movie. It is an awesome film. I love that film.
Anyway, all right, let's do this real quick. Wade and I are big fans of Tom Tykwer. We think this guy is incredibly talented.
He's the man.
He is the man. He's sort of Nicholas Winding Refn man, right? We kind of like
totally.
Visually, we like what
bet.
he's about and everything. Now, somehow, Tykwer wound up releasing a film that went nowhere in the States. I didn't even know this thing got released in Los Angeles.
There were a handful of us who were pulling for this at the time of our voting. Tim actually talked about this on the radio, and it's a cool film. It just didn't get any proper release. It just got a nothing release, and it should have been. I mean, if more people had seen this, if more people had watched their screener, and I probably didn't push hard enough at the time that we were throwing those emails around. But if more people had seen this, I think it might have gotten a little bit of traction.
Yeah, it's really your fault, Wade.
It's my fault.
Anyway,
entirely.
3 is an interesting little...
And that's the number 3. It's not spelled out. It's not Roman numerals. It is, the number 3.
Yes, it is.
Yes.
It's a story of a...
It's so erotic. It's so erotic.
it's sort of like this. It's a bit of a screwball comedy. It's a bit of a sexual experimentation-y sort of comedy.
It's a small film for him.
Oh, it's a very small film.
Yeah.
Obviously, this must have been a script that he just responded to and just wanted just to do it.
Yeah.
Because this is not a big budget film. It's essentially about a couple in their early 40s. They live in Germany, and they've been together for 20 years. And little do they know that they are both falling in love with the same man.
Yes.
What?
Yeah.
Unbelievable. Anyway, so Tikver is still a great stylist, and this is not his best film, but you can tell it's a film he just sort of like wanted to do.
Yeah.
So, hey, why not just do it? And he has the power, and it was low budget, and so just do it. So, and I liked it on those terms. 3 by Tom Tikver.
Absolutely.
Tom Tikver.
A couple of years ago when I was on my don't make fun of me for this. When I was on my second stint on a Colcoa jury, one of the great French films we had the pleasure of seeing was I'm Glad My Mother Is Alive. This is by the great Claude Miller and his son Nathan. Claude Miller, of course, is the guy who basically discovered. I mean, not that she needed discovering with Famous Parents, but he sort of. He put Charlotte Gainsbourg on the map in many respects, and he's just a great filmmaker, one of the great French directors of the post-New Wave era, where André Téchiné and Tavernier and a lot of these guys came out in that really vibrant late 60s, early 70s explosion. He's one of those guys, and he just does really, really cool films. And this is about this very, very troubled kid who wants to track down his birth mother. He was given up for adoption, and it is... Boy, it goes in a really... It takes just some incredibly weird turns, and the kid is unbelievable. I mean, this is really an unbelievable performance. You are just going to be dazzled. And you don't know where this movie goes. You just don't. It gets dark, and then it gets light, and you get hopeful, and then you get depressed, and it really jerks you all over the place. But it's a terrific film. Great work from Claude Miller, as always.
All right, wait, here's what we're doing. Because we're rolling along.
We're rolling.
Doing
we're
stuff,
moving.
But we don't realize we got a couple things to do.
We got to do our audio mail.
We do, and now are we talking about the shoebox?
I was gonna mention this just at the end of the show. It's kind of a teaser, but we'll get to that.
Okay.
We'll get to that.
Well, let's do some viewer, listener. I always say viewer.
Yeah.
Because I was.
It's okay.
I was
viewer mail. I know.
I was weaned on television. I'm a TV producer. I'm used to saying viewer. That's okay. But how about some listener mail?
We'll do it.
Dear Digigods, my name is Tim Struble from Akron, Ohio. Just the other day, I started watching the film Paper Lions about it's about, obviously. Now, I was wondering, what is your favorite sports film of all time? Now, in addition to that, I'd write some recommendations of sports films that you think are really good, but not that popular. And my second question is, when you guys review movies, what do you do with DVDs after you're done that you don't like? Do you give them to Mark so he can have? Just kidding. Or do you just sell them on eBay or something, or you just send them back to the studio? Thank you.
That's a really great first question. I mean, my favorite sports film of all time, I guess it's probably Chariots of Fire. It's about the Olympics. It's about two different guys. It's about running. I love running. It's a great movie, and it won Best Picture unexpectedly, I would add. Chariots of Fire was kind of the weird. That was one of the last.
That was one of the underdoggy.
That was that and Driving Miss Daisy are like the last two times that an unexpected film won Best Picture.
Crash.
No, Crash. It was obvious. I knew that. I was at your apartment at the time, and I pointed to the TV, and everybody else was going like, "Come on, Brokeback," and I'm like, "No, Crash." I pointed to the TV, and they go, "And Best Picture is Crash," and I was like, "I told you so." Everybody flipped out.
It was Jack Nicholson.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Remember, he opens up the envelope. He goes,
was surprised.
Whoa. He actually said,
It
whoa.
was so obvious. I knew it was Crash. Chariots of Fire for me, it's not that underrated. It's kind of been forgotten a little bit. But, Requiem for a Heavyweight is a really, really good film that people forget with all the boxing films we've had over the last 20, 30, 40 years. What about you?
I'm going to say, you know what? I'm going to say Raging Bull.
Yeah.
That would be my favorite sports film.
Pretty great.
Now, here's the thing, though. The question could be, what's your favorite film that has sports in it? Mm-hmm. Or what's your favorite sports film? Like, when you say sports film, you usually think of, The Big Game.
Yeah.
that kind of a thing. I mean, Raging Bull, yes, obviously it's a boxing film, but it's a lot more than that.
And if you want to discover a film, and all the great sports films are more than that. I'm going to say Loneliness of the Long Distance Runner, one of the great British films of the 50s, and 60s. You got to check that out. Loneliness of the Long Distance Runner, terrific movie. If you haven't seen it, go check it out. Running movies.
How about this? Here's some films that you don't even think of them as being sports films, but they kind of are. You ready?
Yeah.
The Hustler.
Totally.
Sports film.
Of course.
Pool.
Yeah.
And Newman won an Oscar for Color of Money, the sequel, like 30 years later.
Totally.
Here's another one.
Big Lebowski.
Bowling?
Bowling.
Come on.
Of course.
Works for me.
Totally.
How about this? Searching for Bobby Fischer.
Chess? Are we really going to go sports chess?
Why
really?
not?
Really? Okay.
You don't think so?
I don't know.
How dare you?
Dodgeball. I love Dodgeball.
That movie's funny.
It is a really funny
That's a funny movie.
It's a very funny movie. We like Dodgeball.
We do like
it's
Dodgeball.
good. The second question, what do we do with the DVDs when we're done with them?
Well, are these the DVDs that... Are these the Academy screeners, or are these the ones that we get sent for the show?
The Academy screeners we hang on to if we like them, and then we're obligated to destroy them if we don't.
Which we never do.
Which, well, it's
I
like
don't.
they're coded to our names, and they're coded to us. So if they ever wound up being pirated, they'd track it back to us, and we'd get hauled away by the cops and the FBI and thrown in prison. So if there's one that you really hate, you just destroy it. I don't. I hang on to them all, and I put them in a binder.
Another sports film that's it's not really about sports, but it's in the sports world, which is a great film.
Yeah.
Jerry Maguire.
True. Very true. Show me the money.
What do I? Oh, here's what I do now. Regarding Academy screeners, I have a ritual. This is what I do.
What do you do?
Watch them all.
Yeah.
Lend a bunch to my mother and whoever.
Yeah.
And when I'm done with them all,
Yeah.
I go to Best Buy.
Yeah.
I buy one of those big. I just did this like 3 weeks ago.
Big binder.
I buy one of those big, 100 CD case leather, canvas cases for 100 CDs.
Yeah.
Put them all in there.
Yeah. That's what you do.
Now these, the ones we get sent for the show.
It's it's a toss up. I mean, we keep the good stuff, and a lot of stuff we give away, and whatever. There's any number of things that we could do. Coasters,
Bonfire,
clay pigeons. I've throw them, put them into a little launcher and shoot at them. Use them
and pull.
Yeah, I mean, it just depends. They accumulate. Let me put it this way: I've got a really packed garage.
It's
annoying.
At one point during the early days of this podcast,
yeah,
we used to make fun of you because you had upwards of 7,000.
I have
DVDs.
no idea how many there are now.
Do you have more than 7,000?
I have no idea anymore. Boxes filled with boxes. I got to do something. I have to.
Oh no! You should keep them all.
Oh, thank you.
Oh, of
I'll
course.
Figure something out.
You never know when you're going to need to look at a scene from.
From
anything,
yeah, we can't even
Bad
think.
News Bears and Breaking Training.
There we go. All right, and we have one more listener mail.
Hi there, Wade and Mark. Alexander Burlika here, and I have two questions regarding plasma screens. Number one is, a couple of months ago, you guys mentioned that many modern TVs have these modes which allow them to go at 120 hertz or even 240. And I encountered this personally on my brother's 42-inch Panasonic plasma, which has some feature called intelligent frame creation or some such. And basically it makes everything look like a Mexican soap opera. And for about 9 months, I was literally just battling my brother and saying that there's something wrong here. This is not what it's supposed to look like. And he kept saying that, no, you're just jealous because this is what proper HD must look like. And everybody says that it's perfect. And basically, I was the guy who kept screaming that the king is naked. Eventually, I dug around the settings of the TV and found a way to get rid of it, and now it works perfectly. So my question is, what is the point of such modes? What are they used for? Because obviously, they're of no use to people who watch TV or watch Blu-rays because it just basically obliterates the director's intentions. So is there really any proper use for such features, or is it just another pointless, empty gimmick which is used to sell more units? And here's my question number 2. This one has to do with the upconverting DVDs. I am planning to get myself a plasma screen, probably around 40 inches, and I have a pretty big DVD collection, about 900 discs. And of course, I'm not going to be able to double-dip everything. And currently, I use a PlayStation 3 to watch Blu-rays. And I remember a while ago, maybe some 2 or 3 years ago, Wade was saying that if one has a good Blu-ray player and a TV which is not especially big, like again 40, maybe 42 inches, then one will not be able to notice a great difference in the picture quality between a Blu-ray and an upconverted DVD. So will this be the case if I have, for example, a 40-inch plasma and a PS3? Or will I see some significant difference which is, obvious to the naked eye? So these are my questions. Looking forward to getting the answer in any shape or form, and as always, loving every second of the show. Keep up the great work, guys.
Alexander, two outstanding questions. Answer to the first one with the bane of my existence.
No purpose. Zero.
You know what? It has two purposes.
No, it doesn't.
One for 3D, and that's why it was introduced. Because this is why Peter Jackson is shooting The Hobbit at a higher frame rate. He's shooting The Hobbit at like 45 frames a second or something like that.
But they came out with 120 hertz LCD TVs in like 2007.
They did, but the idea was looking down the line primarily at 3D. But the other reason was for sports, because there's no blur, there's no motion blur when you have 120 hertz going. And if you're looking at something that's already shot 30 frames a second, like sports, like a football game, then you add the 120 hertz to it, and it's like, oh wow, I'm really on the field, and suddenly you can watch those slow motion replays, and the camera zipping as Kobe
well, fine,
jams.
Then just don't watch movies.
Yeah, exactly. Well, that's why a lot of them now have movie mode, which you should look for. They have modes that will turn that off. At least a lot of the sharps do. I'm noticing that.
Well, you can turn off. See, most or a lot, I don't know if all of them do. 120 hertz LCD TVs, they have low, medium, high settings for that 120 hertz crap.
Correct.
And the thing that people have to understand is that, you don't. A lot of what you take away when you turn on 120 hertz, is what makes film.
Yeah.
You don't want your film to look like, as you hilariously said, Alexander, a Mexican soap opera. You want your movie to look like a movie.
Yeah.
And film has a certain property, certain look, certain grain structure.
Mm-hmm.
It's not meant to look so much like video.
True.
And so really it's meaningless. It's I would imagine directors hate it.
Yeah,
because it compromises their original visions.
But that's why. I mean, and moving on to his second question, I don't know that you're going to get great upconversion out of the PlayStation 3. I know, Mark, you have a PlayStation 3.
My PlayStation 3 is my one and only Blu-ray and DVD player.
Are you happy with the upconversion on DVDs? See, most people I've heard from aren't.
Well, the Oppo is really one of the best out there. Denon has a good one.
Denon, I've heard, is really, really outstanding upconversion. But Oppo has always been state-of-the-art. So, I mean, I'd say if you get an Oppo, and as far as the televisions are concerned, stick with the brands that have really the high reputation for being able to reproduce film-level resolution and brightness. Stay away from edge lighting. You want to get LED lighting and, not edge-lit LED. The Samsungs, the Sharps, the Sonys, those are the ones to stick with.
I would say, I have a Pioneer. Pioneer don't make plasmas anymore.
They don't make plasmas anymore.
They made high-end plasmas. They spent a lot of money for my plasma.
But I think you're going to get out of your plasma, out of your television, you're going to get the best if you get a great upconverting player. And I'd say Oppo. I've said Oppo before. I stick with Oppo now.
And don't spend less than $50,000 on your television.
All right, that's it. We are done. We will be back next week with fantastic.
You didn't even hear what I said.
Don't spend less than $50,000 on your television.
Well, I did hear that.
I hear you, but I can't indulge all of your humor. All right, we'll be back next week with more fantastic new releases, and send us godsdigigods.com your suggestions for what our listener mail segment should be called. See you next week.
And very disappointing, Wade. We had no audio questions. Nobody sent us an audio question this week. Guys, go to the program. We love your audio questions. Gods@digigods.com. Record it, send it. We'll play it on the show. And we'll even answer it.